The racing world was shaken once again. And this time it wasn't because of an incident or a technical controversy, but because of one name who appeared like a player from a different league, Pagahayo, as if he came from a different dimension of competition. While other racers followed the usual pattern, he broke with the rules and stepped into a zone where risks were not to be avoided, but to be conquered. Foreign media even coined the term outclass, because what he displayed wasn't just a final result, but a dominant style and mentality. And no analyst could predict his performance because his graph didn't rise. Normally, Deitsikeli Diasada. He suddenly exploded to a level that was difficult to catch. The global audience demanded replays. Commentators were at a loss for words, and even foreign forums called him not an ordinary generation. The question was simple, but it made everyone curious about what actually made him stand out from the other competitors, even those with far more experience. And that was just the beginning. Typical racers focus solely on speed, acceleration, and consistent lap times, IPMs. However, this figure demonstrated characteristics that went far beyond that. He fought using a combination of calculation, instinct, and composure that is rare at such an age or with such limited experience. Analysts say he has the ability to read race conditions 1 to 2 laps faster than his competitors, like having a radar that automatically detects momentum. Even when pressure comes from behind, he doesn't turn around in panic, but instead waits for a psychological opening in his opponent. This mentality has led the outside world to speculate that he wasn't just a born racer, but a racing architect who programs his own path. This patience, rarely seen in young racers, frustrates opponents because he can't provoke the slightest mistake. This mentality isn't the result of weeks of training, but rather the result of an internal battle built on a desire to dominate, not just win. While other racers are known for their aggressive, clean racing or late-breaking styles, he's on a hybrid path of unpredictability, an approach that requires technical analysts to replay telemetry repeatedly. His corner entry technique doesn't follow European or Asian textbooks. He combines a flexible racing line with unpredictable throttle timing. This combination creates the illusion for opponents that he's vulnerable. In fact, every visible gap isn't a gap, but a tactical trap. This is why some foreign mechanics call his racing style like an algorithm that constantly changes every sector. In professional racing, speed can be trained, but the ability to disrupt opponents' predictions, forcing them to make mistakes, is a strength that sets him apart from the rest of the grid. When the camera pans to the faces of many young riders before the start, a small tinge of tension is still visible. But what's visible in him isn't nervousness, but rather a cool focus. It's as if he's done this race 1,000 times before. Even after a false start, a white corner, or a minor slip, he doesn't explode in panic, but instead he mentally analyzes himself in a matter of seconds. This is a characteristic rarely found except in legendary riders who have faced years of media pressure, sponsors, and public expectations. Sports psychologists call this ability competitive composure. Something not all athletes, even those with long experience, possess. This mentality creates global confidence that he's not just a fast rider, but a potential icon of the next generation of competition. In modern motorsport, consistency isn't just about stable lap times, but how a rider maintains a consistent pace in various conditions. Heat, rain, podium pressure, or bad starts. He's not the type of rider who only shines on one circuit, one weather condition, or one bike configuration. He displayed a performance that had a stable trajectory despite changing race variables. This is what led foreign data analysts to consider him a different breed, as most young riders only experience performance spikes, not a continuous growth curve. Furthermore, His adaptation to changes in motorcycle setup seemed remarkably quick. It was as if he understood the language of the machine better than his age and experience level. One word: consistent, not coincidental. Viral names usually stem from controversies, arguments, accidents, or heated comments. But this case was different. He went viral because of a dominance that seemed natural but difficult to understand. So the international public felt the need to replay race footage just to find the part that set him apart. Foreign forums called him different breed material. Meanwhile, some Spanish and English journalists wrote headlines filled with admiration, not provocation, not. Some fans of their national jerseys even began comparing him to legends, not intending to belittle him, but simply seeking an equal of. This kind of virality is at the highest level in the world of sport. It's valued for competence, not for drama. When a rider displays inexplicable dominance, the most frequent reaction isn't a direct comment, but rather a small expression like a nod, a crooked smile, or a brief sigh, or a brief sigh. And it was evident in the paddock. Rivals can't call him lucky because there's no room for it. Nor can opponents call him powered by the best engine because his performance remains high even under unfavorable conditions. Signs like small talk in the garage, technicians beginning to notice his hand gestures, and the constant follow of the paddock cameras are all signals that he's no ordinary talent. He's entering an elite space that few have ever crossed. Some analysts predict that if this pattern continues, he will become one of those riders who not only achieves success but also changes the standards of the next generation of competition. His current technical abilities can still develop, and if he, one day, has the support of premium facilities, his results could potentially explode even more than this initial phase. It's not impossible that he will become a racer with the hybrid DNA of a competitor, not just fast, but capable of establishing a new competitive era, like some of the big names who have changed the training system of the previous generation. Rumors in the paddock or on foreign forums don't need to be taken as fact, but can be used as positive analysis. Some media outlets claim he has an unconventional training method. Others say he has an undisclosed mental mentor. Until official confirmation is given, this is simply part of the narrative dynamic that keeps viewers engaged. In the sports industry, narratives aren't meant to deceive viewers, but to enhance the appeal of competition, making it grow larger, more professional, and more measurable. Hey, what's been shown so far isn't the pinnacle of a career, but rather the beginning of a much larger story. The outside world is already seeing the difference. International fans are starting to take notice, and now only time will tell whether he will become a great rider, a world champion, or an icon who changes the culture of competition. One thing is certain, he's already on a trajectory that can't be achieved through mere training, but rather through a mentality that dares to challenge the future. The question now is this just the beginning, or are we witnessing the creation of a new legend?